There are two things that I'm working on or have worked on that are specifically climate change related. Then there's things that are peripherally related but grow out of the climate crisis. So the first two things that I've done are the relationship of climate change to the issues of indigenous people. I've specifically looked at Pacific Basin indigenous people. I've looked at the impact on Native Americans as well, and I've done some research in that area and have written a couple of things. The other thing I've focused on is the public trust, and I've been involved with expanding, writing, and working on the public trust duty as being implicated by the failure of the government, both state and federal, and probably internationally, but certainly state and federal, to act to control climate change, or to not control climate change, but to do something, right? The stalemate is, I think, frustrating, and one of the things I've written about is the underlying obligation of the government, as a function of its legitimacy, really, to act in defense of the people. And climate change is actually, addressing climate change is actually working in defense of the people, in my view. The other thing I've worked on are water issues and water-related issues. People take water for granted. We all take water for granted. And coming as I did before I came to Cornell from a rather dry part of the country, it was just startling to me that people weren't concerned about the way climate change had affected rain patterns and thus affected water rights and allocation decisions and things like that. So both California and Texas, where I've done water work, have been implicated by climate change, and I've written about that. The last thing is working. I've worked with. I just wrote a small piece about California's greenhouse gas trading scheme. California has been, I guess, the most aggressive state to address climate change and the precursor elements of climate change, and so it's gotten some, I think, resistance in some communities. And what I just wrote about was why I think that resistance is misplaced, and reanalyzed the way in which the trading scheme works. What I hope it accomplishes, and it's always, we always hold out big hopes for these kinds of meetings, but in fact, what we really want to look for is continued incremental progress. And so what I'm hoping is that we can continue to make progress towards the achievement of an international, a solid international regime that reduces greenhouse gases and addresses the issues of climate change as they affect the environment across the board. So I'm really just hoping for continued incremental progress. I wish I could say, there's going to be a big change coming out of this. I'm just glad it's happening, and I think that in itself is a victory. Well, one of the things that is most impressive about what's going on at Cornell is the way in which the various departments interact. So upon getting here, I realized that some of the best climate scientists are here at Cornell. And being an environmental lawyer who's concerned about policy making, I recognize that one of the things that offers my students, both law students and then students, graduate students from other departments who've taken my class, is a chance to work with people who are concretely addressing the issue of climate, as well as continue to explore the more theoretical issues. But I think what the special thing that Cornell brings is the free exchange of ideas. I think the Atkinson Center is a critical link in that conversation, and it's been really important in drawing voices from across the university and making me aware, for example, of research that's going on that if I'd stayed here closer to law school, I would not have been aware of. When I can just walk across campus and talk to people on the ag campus who are doing work which is going to have a direct impact on my future, my children's future, and I hope policy going forward. So it's that interchange that it's a crucible where a lot of work is being done and a lot of work is being exchanged. That I think a lot of universities don't have.
This has been a production of Cornell University, on the web at cornell.edu.